and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited.
Welcome to another episode of the House of Ghouls podcast. I'm your host, Colby, and joined as always with my best friend, Ian Van Ghoul. And today we have a couple special guests that we've been wanting to talk to for a while now. Today we are joined by Paul Brooks and Sierra Renfro, writer and director and star, Hunting for the Hag. So how are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
I've been better, but I'm getting better as well. So,
Yeah.
Ian, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Just happy to be here.
I know Paul's at a Star Trek convention right now, so he's chilling in a hotel.
No. No. Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar. My bad. Battlestar Galactica.
I thought you were just trolling there for a minute.
There is a
Did you say
difference.
Star Trek?
I did.
Oh. Ooh.
I mean, there's
I gotta-
plenty of people who worked on Star Trek who eventually came over to Battlestar. And if you want me to spend the whole episode talking about it, I will, but I'm guessing you don't.
No.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Exactly.
Great reference.
Sierra, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I had the day off, so I just worked on a bunch of personal projects, which always feels really nice to have like a business day to do that, you know? Sometimes I get behind on like making my appointments for medical stuff and everything because it's like, oh, not 9 to 5, but then you work 9 to 5 and then you know what I mean? So it was great. I got my Jeep serviced and made some appointments, and now I feel good for the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ian, what'd you do today?
I had a work thing. Typically,
yeah.
it's my day. It's my day off, and I had to work. So yeah, it was not a fun day for me, but it's always glad to hear when somebody else has a good day. So hell yeah for Sierra.
Ian, are you in Rockford too?
I'm not. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Pennsylvania's got like spooky vibes, right? I feel like that's one of the states that whenever I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, they got some
Yeah, we've got
ghost
the
ghouls or something in the woods there.
we've got the birthplace of zombies.
yeah.
George A. Romero.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I love Western Pennsylvania. I started going to Living Dead weekend a handful of years ago at the Monroeville Mall where Dawn of the Dead was filmed, and I just, I'm a Midwestern guy, and going out there to the Pittsburgh area is the vibe really is totally different. And as a hardcore Romero fan and zombie fan, there's just something special about it. So I love being out in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it as well. And yeah, I'm pretty close to Pittsburgh, about hour and a half.
Cool.
So yeah, I have made many road trips out there just to go to the mall for no
Yeah.
reason other than to be at the mall where Dawn of the Dead was filmed.
Nice.
So yeah, I definitely get it, and it is one of the perks of living here for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully we can meet up sometime at the mall maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sweet.
Hunting for the Hag. How did you get inspiration from this?
I was watching The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. I'll tell the story really quick. Last Drive-In was playing a movie called Mother's Day, and inspiration just sort of suddenly struck. I'd never seen the film before, and I started thinking, what if we did something similar to this and put a found footage twist on it to try to like keep the cost down and everything. And so, once the ideas sort of started churning a little bit, I asked Sierra. Her and I had collaborated on some different short films and different projects together previously. And I said, what do you think about trying to write a feature kind of in this same vein? And she was on board, and we just sort of went for it. The whole thing happened very quickly. We started writing it in like May, and we were shooting it by August. So we had a very fast pre-production period, which I wouldn't recommend because it ended up being a little bit stressful. But we got it done. So
Yeah.
How many days did it take to shoot?
like 7.
It was 6.5, which I also don't
Wow.
recommend.
Yeah, it was like an endurance test for sure.
Yeah.
Because like most of the stuff we filmed was during the night. So it's like we only had this amount of hours of darkness and we're like trekking through like corn fields and tall grass and there's animals everywhere and bugs and spiders. But
Yeah. How much of a pain in the ass was it shooting in the cornfield?
Well, the cornfield, you weren't in there too much, Sierra, or at all, really, right?
I was helping make the paths though, because we were trying to make paths for Jasmine to run through. Because there's like big spider webs and giant corn spiders or whatever they're called. And it's nighttime. So she was really worried about like running into a spider web, which I mean, naturally, you know. And so we were trying to like clear out or like at least like push some of the branches a little bit so that she didn't have to be like whacked in the face with
Mm.
it so much.
Yeah,
So I,
go
yeah,
ahead.
I wasn't like filmed in there, but that was like, you know, I almost gave a spoiler, but I'm really bad at that. But anyways, I wasn't filmed in there, but I was helping like behind the scenes. So
Yeah, the problem with Illinois summers, Colby, you know this, is that in late August things can there's just no telling exactly what the weather is going to be like. So we
Mm.
were sort of under constant threat of thunderstorms and rain, and just, the heat was out of control. So it was not ideal in terms of the conditions for everybody, but I kind of made sure going into it because, Sierra had never been to the Midwest. One of our other actors, Alexa, I don't think had ever been to the Midwest. Jasmine is actually from Illinois, so she was a little bit more prepared, but I'm like, listen, this is going to be kind of a tough shoot, and I need to make sure that everybody understands going into it that this is not going to be a picnic. And we're going to have some long, difficult nights. And just as long as everybody's on board for that, and everybody was great. Everybody was, um, even though it was difficult, everybody was a great team player and, helping each other out and running slate, after they got killed and stuff like that. So there you go. I threw in a spoiler.
No, a lot of people, when you think Illinois, you think like you just think Chicago and like harsh winters. Like it's got some brutal summers and the
Yeah.
humidity gets up there.
actually,
Yes.
Illinois sucks.
I think it was the hottest week of the year that we
Oh,
picked
yeah.
out for filming.
No, it was
So
over
like
100 degrees.
so it was like the hottest it could be. And yeah, it was just wet everywhere
Oh.
constantly.
And
But
being
it
in the
was
corn sucks.
Yeah, we
Like,
actually had Jasmine for her scenes in the cornfields when she's running through the cornfields. We actually had like a protective visor over her face because if you get going too fast, some of that corn can actually cut you. And obviously we didn't want that happening, so we put this visor on her face that you can't see in the film, but there's some bonus features on our upcoming Blu-ray that has some of that, so you'll get to see some of the fun behind the scenes stuff with the movie.
do you guys have a Kickstarter or anything for that Blu-ray release, or is it just good to go?
It's good to go. We're working with a new company. I can't say too much yet, because the announcement hasn't been
Mhm.
made yet. We should be making it pretty soon here, but we're really excited about it. It's been fun putting the whole package together, collaborating on it and everything. So hopefully we'll be able to say more about it pretty quick here.
Cool. As soon as you can, you gotta send it to me so I can pre-order it and everything.
Sure, we'll do. Appreciate it.
But yeah, talking about the corn, like yes, it cuts you. My first job I ever had, it's a thing in the Midwest called detasseling,
Detasseling, me
and
too.
it is horrible.
Yeah, it sucks.
Man, I did
Yeah,
it in like seventh grade or something, and
same.
I mean we did it, but we also fucked around a lot. Like we'd pull the corn off and like throw them at our friends in the other rows and shit.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But like also at nights, like living in the Midwest, like that's what we do for fun. Like we have nothing cool around us, so we'd like go run around a cornfield and try to lose each other and shit. Like not the smartest thing, but that's just the stuff we do for fun, like where I grew
It's
up.
it's like a Midwestern rite of passage, apparently.
You
Yeah.
guys weren't afraid of like aliens? I was terrified of aliens growing up, and I'm just like anything to do with cornfields, like
Well,
not,
you grew
oh,
up watching Signs, that's why.
yeah,
I
freaked me
love that
out.
movie. Love
And
Yeah.
Signs.
War of the Worlds too. They came out like around the
Oh
same.
yeah, I remember that one.
So yeah, aliens were terrifying. But
Corn
yeah,
spiders sounds terrifying.
I think you should write that, Sierra. Corn spiders. That's not a real thing, but you should write it.
Curse of the Corn Spider.
I know in Illinois we got what we call the garden spiders. Those are the big yellow ones.
Mm,
The garden spiders. You can write one about that. I don't know if they're I don't think they're poisonous or anything. I think they're harmless, but they're still scary as shit to look at.
Yeah.
yeah, they just look nasty.
Yeah, they're like the size they're like the size of your palm.
When I
Those
was
things are
growing up,
scary.
I was kind of poor and like I remember we didn't have any money to get like any real pets. So one time we actually found like a black widow like in our like barbecue or something. Like it was just posted up in there. And my mom caught it and put it in like a little fish tank and like it was my job to go find like dead cockroaches and like try and feed it to like our and we called her baby. She was like our pet black widow spider.
That's like
But
having a pet alligator. That can fucking kill you.
yeah, yeah. But I was really excited about it. So,
How long did you have it for?
oh, I don't know. I remember I was pretty young. Um, it couldn't have been more than a couple months. I'm sure we like moved and like released it into like the apartment complex or something. Like good neighbors.
That's honestly amazing.
Yeah, we couldn't kill her. She was just baby.
But yeah, so Hunting for the Hag, the opening scene with all the cornfields, instantly I was like, I'm hooked. Like this is literally like my hometown. So I was hooked instantly. Um, I really enjoyed all the characters. Fucking Daniel Roebuck is in it. I was really surprised to see someone like Daniel Roebuck because I knew it was going to be a low budget indie, but seeing Daniel Roebuck, I was like, this is fucking awesome already. And me personally, I am a huge found footage nerd. Like found footage is my favorite subgenre. So I did read reviews before this, and all I saw were people bitching about how it's found footage 3/4 of the movie and then turns into not found footage. But that honestly did not bother me at all. I know it fucking pissed a lot of people off, but I did not care at all. Like I enjoyed the whole ride of the movie.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and it has been driving me absolutely nuts lately. Some of the reviews that have been coming out saying like they just switched to a different style for no reason and it doesn't make any sense. And it's like, look, if you don't like the switch, I have no problem with that. If it's not for you, that's totally fine. But don't tell me that it doesn't make any sense because we did everything in our ability to show you that we're smashing the camera and that we are shifting into a completely different style. And if you don't like the choice, that's fine. But don't tell me that it doesn't make any sense because we show the first thing we show when it switches is the smashed camera. So it's like, yes, there's no camera anymore. So it does drive me, a little bit nuts that some people, for whatever reason, don't seem to either be picking up on it or just, the found footage diehards are just not too happy about that part.
When we were writing it, like it was one of the things we spent a decent amount of time on making sure that it made sense to keep filming at all points. Like there was a reason for a character to have the camera going. And I remember Paul saying how it bothered you, how it's like you watch found footage films and you're like, why are they still filming?
Right.
Like, and I definitely like have had that experience. So when we got to that part in the story, it was just like, I think you were like, well, what if we just have them stop filming? Like, what if
Yeah.
that's happens? Like, and I feel like that kind of goes into like more real life along with the horror of the movie. It goes into more of like real life horror. So it kind of goes along with the vibe, the themes. We put a lot of thought into it. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just personal preference. But we didn't do it out of like laziness. We did it actually, it probably complicated our movie way more.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's why it bothers me. It's like I've seen some reviews, not to harp on it too much, but it's like I've seen a few reviews that say like, oh, they couldn't figure out what to do, so they just switched over. I'm like, no, like if we wanted to keep it found footage, you just keep the camera rolling. It's not like we couldn't figure out what to do with it. We made a choice, a stylistic choice, because we wanted to try to do something different. It's not like this is the first hybrid found footage movie that's ever been made either, and people act like we're breaking some sort of cardinal rule. So I think the whole thing is a little bit silly. And in case you can't tell, I'm a little salty about it lately.
No, I understand. Like it even annoyed me when I saw the reviews after I watched the movie because I was watching it and I was like, this is a way better, like it's a way better way to tell the story, the third act, instead of keep filming the found footage way. It's more believable as well.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And let me say to both of you that I appreciate uh, your reviews. I thought both of your reviews were great, and I appreciate you taking the time to do it. And I didn't even know, Colby, that you were in Illinois, so that was a nice little connection too.
Yeah, I'm not being biased either. Like what I review, like it's what I like. Like I'm not trying to like lie to make like these directors and stuff like connections and stuff. I put out what I like, and I'm not gonna like ask you to come on the podcast if I don't like something, because like I have a reputation, so I don't want to tarnish that. So
Yeah,
like I genuinely like your guys' movie. I wouldn't ask you guys to come on here if I didn't. Because like right after I watched it, I told Ian, I was like, "Yo, you need to check this one out."
yeah, we appreciate that very much.
Because Ian and I, we have very, very similar tastes. There's a few movies here and there that we don't see eye to eye on, but most of the time, like my wife says me and Ian are like the same fucking person.
Well, it's weird too because Ian, I asked you if you would be interested in reviewing the movie, and I don't think I even knew at that time that you two knew each other. So, kind of a couple, it's a pretty small knit community,
Hmm.
I guess. But I just found that funny once I found out.
Yeah, right.
Pretty
Yeah, I just
cool.
want to say too, before we kind of get into the discussion, that anyone watching or listening, if you haven't watched Hunting for the Hag, it is available on Tubi and Plex. So go check it out. Pause this, go watch it, and then come back. Because I do want to get into kind of full spoiler territory where we don't have to kind of watch what we say.
Yeah,
So just throwing it out there. So go check it out, then come back, and then yeah, we can open it up for full spoilers then.
appreciate the plug.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
absolutely.
Ian's always looking out. He's the brains of the operation. So my another thing I really liked. This was like three different movies in one. The way it started out with this lore, and then I thought it turned into a whole different movie when they like met the hillbillies, and I thought it was gonna the whole rest of the movie was gonna be like some Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like fucked up like family and friends that are just gonna torture these fucking friends. And I was like,
hmm
this is fucking crazy. And then it turns into another whole different movie.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of fun playing with that, and part of that was um, a little bit of an accident because everything that we filmed with Daniel Roebuck was done completely separate, like 6 months later from everything that we had shot in Central Illinois. I had put together a rough cut of the movie and kind of realized that we didn't quite have enough material. It was running about 70 minutes long, which is, a little light for a feature. And we were trying to get a little bit closer to 90 minutes. And so what we ended up doing, me and Sierra and our executive producer, Seth, we got together and brainstormed, what can we do to sort of like expand the story a little bit. And that's how the stuff with Dan came about. We went out to LA and shot with him and shot the bookends that are at the front and the back of the movie and kind of, expanded the mythos and the story a little
Mm.
bit. And I'm happy that we ended up doing that because I think it makes the story stronger and everything at the end kind of like sets some things up a little bit more. And so kind of a nice accident that ended up happening.
Yeah, it was like this very anxiety-filled moment of like, oh my God, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, but it was such like a blessing because now I can't like it makes the movie so much better. And one of my favorite parts about like going to any of the screenings or festivals is the ending end cap, like when he starts like pulling out the like papers out of his
Yeah.
file, like the music starts ramping up, everybody gets really excited and people are like clapping and going like, yeah, like just like super riled up for like the over the top, like, you know, what it could be if we expanded the universe after the fact. So, really did work out in our favor.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how did Daniel Roebuck come about being in the movie? Because like I said, he's obviously a very kind of well-known name at this point,
Yeah.
between all the Rob Zombie movies and now Terrifier 3. So was it did you seek him out? Did you like want him to be in the film, or did it just kind of organically come about, or how'd that work?
We wrote that part once we decided that we were going to go in that direction. We did write that part specifically for him. I had worked with him several years prior on a short film that we did. And then actually, when I was living in LA, we did some work together. So I've known Dan for probably 15 years. And he was originally introduced to us through Steve Christopher, who's one of the other male actors in the film, who you see, one of the hillbilly guys. He's been friends with Dan for a long, long time. So he initially got us in touch with Dan. And then when we decided that we wanted to do this bookend thing, I asked Steve if he could get in touch with Dan. We had a Zoom call with Dan to sort of go over everything with him and worked out the dates and just kind of made it happen. He was wanting to go out to LA to I think he wanted to see one of his kids who lives out there because most of the time he lives in Pennsylvania. So he flew out to LA and we shot one day with him and the whole thing just kind of actually came together pretty easily.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that because yeah, it's like a very, especially like in the horror community, like you know Daniel Roebuck, so I think
Hmm.
it's awesome to have him in that opening scene and like the bookends. Um, so it's like a cool intro because it sucks you in right away,
Mhm.
and then the movie, as Colby said, like we're both big fans of the movie, so it kind of sucks you in, keeps you in, and then like to end with him as well. It's a really cool experience, viewing it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, Dan he's been doing this a long time, obviously, and he brings such a gravitas immediately to the movie that wasn't there previously with having a veteran actor in the film like that. And the other great thing about having him on board was we had a script for him and him and Jasmine were very good with knowing exactly what was in the script, but Dan is a director himself. So, he took everything that was in the script and kind of made it his own and made it better, really. And um, kind of put his own spin on it. And I'm like, do your thing. Because, again, we had known each other for several years and I knew that if he wanted to put his own personal touch on something, that was just going to end up making it better. And I also think that he elevated Jasmine's performance in their scenes together as well, because again, as a director, he kind of knows how to navigate another actor through the process. So it was really great, being able to work with him on this, and I just think it kind of elevates the whole project a little bit.
Every character has such a strong personality, and I really couldn't tell who the final girl was gonna be because I thought it
Mm.
like I really liked Candy and I really liked Jasmine, so it was really hard to distinguish like who was going to be the final girl. So I thought the characters were written very well. Like they all had such great personality. Like even all the hillbillies stood out in their own kind of way.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, Sierra, you can probably talk about this a little bit if you want to. When we were writing the film, I had kind of said, who are you feeling here in terms of who you want to play? Because it was kind of up to her in terms of which direction she wanted to go with which character she wanted to play.
Yeah, he had brought like the outline and the breakdown of like the basic breakdown of the characters. So I had an idea of like what they were supposed to be like. Um, And I think you really wanted me to go with Tara. Like you were kind of like, well, she's the main girl. Like you don't want to be her. But I just felt a draw towards Candy. I felt like it'd be like more fun to play this like kind of more chaotic character. Um, and just more room to, I don't know, grow in the movie. You know, you see so many different versions of her. So I really liked that. And I think I got a pretty decent amount of screen time because a lot of times Tara's behind, the camera. So I kind of decided on that too. But I think it was the right choice because Jasmine played Tara amazing. And I think all of us like made sense for each role
Yeah.
and the chemistry made sense. So I just went with my gut with that one. And it was cool to be able to pick out my character and then know that before going into like the like serious writing stage. So I could kind of implant like certain things that I knew felt organic to me and bring that into the script itself. So yeah, it was just a really fun and unique experience going about it that way.
I think you did a great job too of sort of like coming up with some backstory for your character on your own, just sort of like thinking a lot about who Candy was and sort of like fleshing her out, even if it was stuff that you knew probably wasn't going to be seen on screen, just sort of having a sense of who the person was. It's actually something that I talked about with some of the actors in Battlestar today about crafting crafting a backstory for your character just sort of on your own and like, you know, building up that character, even if it's something that people aren't actually going to be seeing. It just sort of helps you know who that person is a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch
Is
Battlestar
there
Galactica.
did you take any inspiration for other characters to put into Candy?
That's a good question. I didn't not like off the top of my head, I don't think I have anyone specifically. Um, I'm sure like in my subconscious I've pulled just different things I've seen over the years, but as far as like having one inspiration, not really. I think I just used myself as inspiration for the character. You know what I mean? Like I was just how I talk, I kind of like added it in and then I think it was just important to like kind of show that she's kind of fronting all the time, like her confidence and her secureness. And um, when things get really serious, you kind of see her like crumble a little bit and like
Mhm.
all that gets pulled back and she's not trying to like, you know, like she's not trying to play a character or like be this like alternate ego. So that was like the main thing I wanted to get across when writing her, I think.
But you know, the other thing is when the shit kind of hits the fan for Candy, she also is kind of calculating in a way and sort of like holding things together in a way that the guys in the movie don't even really notice or understand, you know? So in a way she kind of holds it together better than everybody else.
Well, she was a dancer, so it's like
She's used to it.
she knows how to handle men who are dangerous, maybe, a little unruly. Like she knows how to manipulate them to get out of certain situations. And that's exactly what the bedroom scene was her just playing along, trying to get to a point where she can actually get herself out of danger.
That bedroom scene was fucking tense too.
Yeah, you
That
know, it's we've had some very uncomfortable screenings, you know, where the film is fun and you know kind of this fun weekend road trip up to a certain point and like I don't know at some point it just kind of like you can hear the theater screenings that we have had is like you can hear a pin drop when some of that is going on, you know, and it's
mhm.
yeah it can get a little intense.
It's like so fun. Like everybody's laughing up until like the tree and like Alyssa being all crazy and like everybody's having a good time and like really hyped up. But then like immediately when she gets shot,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like the energy completely shifts in the theater and they're like, oh fuck. And then it just kind of gets like worse from there.
I think like
Um,
all the air left my body. I was like, did that really just fucking happen?
that was really tough for us too, because me and Sierra have been friends for quite a while, and I made a goofy mistake. Again, we had a very fast pre-production period, so as we were going through the casting process, we knew who we wanted our three leads to be, but on some of the other characters in the film, we were kind of still working on that, and I neglected to mention to Sierra that I had decided to play Danny, and so that was a very difficult. I remember when I shaved kind of got in my character, like she came in that morning and she would not come near me. I looked so goddamn creepy.
I don't
Um,
remember that, but he says this all the time, so it must have been
you
pretty like
blocked it out of your brain, but
significant.
like,
Because I've
that
always
was
known you
tough.
with like a
Yeah,
certain facial hair, and like it's so crazy how like facial hair can change somebody. And like once you did like the fucking dirty stash and the
slick my
like
hair back.
you had like the American Eagle like
Yeah,
tank top. Yeah, and then the glasses you wore too. It was just
my serial killer
insane.
glasses.
Yeah, you were like transformed. It was insane. Um, but yeah, that was the last scene we actually filmed. Like I
Hmm.
remember most most of everybody who had been cut that day was already at the airport and like flying, like I think Jasmine was. And then
Jasmine is gone. Yeah,
yeah, this was like the very last scene and I was going to be flying out after it, and I'm glad it worked out that way because one of my biggest fears when I realized that we were going to have to do this scene um was that like I'm not gonna be able to take it seriously because it's Paul, like it's a lot easier when you don't know like the actor and you can kind of like put this like bad person onto this random person because you've never seen them, but it's like I knew him really well. So I was nervous to see how I was gonna act in like that moment, but we were so fucking exhausted from like being sleep deprived and like pushed to our limits like the entire filming week or 6.5 days that by the time we got there it was like I felt like all three of us were just so locked in and just like let's fucking get this. And like I think that exhaustion played a part in like us being able to bring some of that like icky negative
yeah,
energy into it. So I think we all used that and it worked out really good. And we didn't have any laughing fits at all. It was very
no,
serious. So
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I think it works out very well. And just kind of discovering today that Paul, that I didn't realize that you played Danny until I was
Me neither.
doing some research for the episode. And yeah, I think it might be one of those things that like unknowingly it worked out better knowing
sure,
knowing each other so well.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean it really like that scene is very uncomfortable, but I think it works that way because you both play off each other so well. But yeah, Sierra, I want to say that yeah, Candy stands out. Probably my favorite character in the movie. So
Thank you.
fantastic job.
We were
Uh,
talking about that before you guys got on too.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
I just she's a badass and she has like this mysterious vibe. So yeah, you killed it.
Thank
Um, but yeah, Paul, I wanted to say so like going into the movie, we have obviously the intro that we talked about, and then once we get into the found footage, I also being a huge fan of found footage, I was into it right away. But yeah, when that moment happens where it becomes kind of your quote unquote normal found footage, and then there's that shot, and it's the jaw dropping moment, like it completely changes the vibe, and I fucking loved it because I wasn't expecting it. So first of all, fucking amazing. Was
thank
that
you.
always kind of part like when you wrote that? Is that what you wanted? Like you wanted to have like a kind of searching for the hag, and then like just one moment where it kind of changes everything. Was that always part of the plan for the movie?
Yeah, I suppose for the most part, yeah. I mean, the movie that we wrote and sort of everything that we shot um, was actually pretty close to like sort of how I had pictured it in my mind. Um, I guess I would say that it's always a little bit surprising that that particular moment you're talking about Alyssa's
Mhm.
the character of Alyssa and what happens to her out in the woods. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, that's people have a very strong reaction to that. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense because you really, it comes completely out of nowhere. And then there's some justification for it later on in the film, but like I didn't really think that people would have sort of like a jump scare kind of reaction to it. And it's always nice to see, people when we have a theater screening or whatnot, people yelp, people scream, they just don't see it coming. So yeah, it's kind of cool, like not really realizing that there was going to be a reaction like that, and then kind of seeing that happen is pretty neat.
I think also going up into that point, it seems like the sort of switch up that happens is just that like Beth is, like not really like into it. She wants to like fake it and everything. And so like
Hmm.
kind of having this fake out scene right there that you don't really expect to have another twist happen right after it so fast and so drastically. And that's kind of Paul's style. Like I will say I've been writing with him for a while and like this guy loves twist on twist on twist. And
Yeah.
it actually was really fun to like kind of have him take the lead on like the story in that way and see it play out and with audiences it's very very satisfying, so I kind of understand why you like to have that style.
It's what I love in movies and TV
Mhm.
shows. I'm never happier watching something than when something happens that is just completely unexpected, and I'm like, whoa, I did not see that coming. To me, that's always my favorite part of like a movie going experience, when you're just like blown away by something that you didn't see coming. So yeah, I'm always trying to add in little things like that will keep you guessing and keep the audience surprised, and just kind of make everything more fun along the way.
I have like severe ADD, so stuff like that I love it. I like it if you can keep the engagement, keep the entertainment going. That's how you do it. And I think that's a reason like I really like slow burns. Like I hate the lead up for the slow burns, but then like that the feeling I get when the reveal happens for a slow burn and you get that payoff, that's what I love the most because I am bored during slow burns, but when I get that payoff, it's so satisfying for me.
Yeah, yeah, and the one thing that I'll say about sort of the way that our movie is structured is, I think in retrospect, if I had to do anything differently, I would have maybe tried to put something in the first half hour or so, because like there's quite a bit of setup, sort of getting you into
Mhm.
that point where we start doing the twists and turns. It's tough because it's kind of the nature of found footage, where you're not structuring it like a traditional film. So trying to find that balance can be a little bit more difficult. And I think that if we had to go back and do it over again, maybe we'd change a little bit of that. But hopefully, people can get to that point where the twists and turns start coming.
I think one thing that's positive about our movie and found footage is there are like a lot of just like running around like things not really happening, like confusion.
Yeah,
And I think anybody who's not necessarily a found footage fan will be able to kind of enjoy it or at least have fun, like, or have a good time, or laugh or whatever during this movie. So I think it's approachable in that sense, which I think is cool. And I was really happy with the pacing of
Mhm.
art because seeing some other like found footage films, we've been to a lot of festivals now, so many great ones, but like it was just refreshing to have like ours in the mix and just feel kind of like a this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Um, so yeah.
yeah, and I will say that I am a fan also of movies where not a whole lot happens. I kind of have a soft spot, like Colby was saying, for like slow burn stuff. And so I didn't really mind that there's some of that in this film. I mean, there's even a scene where like Tara is checking her flashlight and like Night of the Living Dead is playing in the background and nothing's really happening, but like we're just sort of like getting everybody in the vibe and the mood for like the stuff that's about to come, for me, I just like little moments like that. So I wanted to try to include some of that in this film as well, even if it might slow things down for a scene or two here or there.
Little moments like that are cool, but I didn't think that your movie was slow at all. Like
Yeah, I don't
the
think so.
beginning, obviously, it's the introduction, and then it's building up the lore for the Hag, like as most cryptid movies do. So I
Hmm.
understood that, but that twist that happens like halfway through, like then on, it's just fucking balls to the wall.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Now I'm not. Now we're good. We're good.
No, I was just saying, like I was comparing like how with my ADHD, why I like slow burns, why I like found footage, but yours really doesn't fall into a lot of those found footage tropes of being like nothing happens the entire movie
Hmm.
until the last 10 minutes. Shit
Yeah.
pops off within like 25, 30 minutes in this one.
Yeah, and and I will say as the editor as well. I mean, I've been editing for over 20 years now, so I go through everything with a fine tooth comb. I go through almost every frame,
Mm.
of the movie, making sure that like the continuity between shots is as best as I can make it, and trying to keep the pacing on point and stuff like that. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean it too.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think he did a great job with it. Because yeah, with going into it the very first time I watched it, not knowing what to expect. Like I said, at the beginning, it like there's always that kind of formula, that stereotypical formula to a found footage,
Yeah.
and I think going into it, in once we get into the found footage, it does follow that. Only the beginning though, so that I was expecting it. So maybe it's not the most exciting things that's happening, but you kind of what you're getting into with the found footage.
Right.
So it's still entertaining. We're meeting these characters. So I think the pacing was perfect. And then, like I said, once that moment happens, that twist, that shock, that stands out to me because you don't usually get that with the found footage. So the
Hmm.
fact that you put that in there and you went that route with it is one thing that absolutely sets this movie apart from every other found footage movie. So I think
I
it's
appreciate
fantastic.
that. That really kind of makes me reframe this in a whole new way. So I really appreciate you guys saying that.
So, before we get into our two favorite questions that we ask our guests every episode, we were speaking about the sequel before we started recording.
Yeah.
So, I know you had a couple things you want to say about the sequel or what you have plans for.
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're working on other stuff, and
Mm,
um, there's definitely, because we do get asked this a lot during Q&As and stuff like that, because it's we set it up pretty clearly at
mm.
the end of the film, and I think that at some point we would love to do a sequel or something else in the Hagaverse, quote unquote.
The Hagaverse, let's
Um,
go.
uh, for me, I just feel like if like the ideas that we have sort of talked about initially would just require a lot more money. And I think that if we were to do something, we would want to go a lot bigger with it.
Mm.
And so um, the question just becomes how do you finance that? How do you put that together? And I just don't think that we're quite ready to talk about that yet because we're working on some other stuff.
Mm.
And if something happens down the road, or if anybody's listening who wants to give us 500 grand or anything like that, let's do it. Let's go. But that's mainly, I think, sort of where I'm at with it right now.
No,
Yeah,
I
but
like that. Oh, go ahead,
we're
Sarah.
building, oh yeah, we're like working on like really building up into the night motion pictures. So like this was a really good, like solid feature
Mm.
Yeah.
into the night. And I think it's like the beginning, and we're putting in a lot of work behind the scenes and trying to make moves on new cool films. So I think I think it will come like eventually. We're just like kind of building ourselves up and like learning new things as we go. So
Yeah, and the other thing I'll say is, um, Sierra and I are writing something right now that we're really excited about, and it's completely different from Hunting for the Hag, and we're excited to be able to get that going pretty soon here, hopefully. But like, I don't necessarily want to get stuck doing just one thing. And I feel like there are sometimes some filmmakers who make a movie and then they immediately go straight for the sequel. And there are diminishing returns on that sometimes. Not all of us can have Terrifier levels of success, so
Mm.
you got to think about really what you want to do, because like this has been 3 years for us now, that from start to finish that we've been working on this, and it takes up a lot of your time and effort and energy, and sort of like you got to really think about, well, what do you want to do next that you're going to sink more time and effort and energy into, so it's just kind of that's kind of where we're at with it right now. And like I said, if anybody wants to throw 500 to $750,000 at us, we'll completely change our tune and go straight into making it.
If
I
I had
love
that money, I would be all over it.
Yeah, why not?
I love that mindset though, of being interested in a sequel, but you don't want to rush into it. You don't want to do it just to do it. And
Exactly.
I really respect that and appreciate that. So the Into the Night, you're kind of what studio or company,
Motion pictures, yeah.
motion pictures. Yeah, you want to give us a little information on that, kind of what to expect from Into the Night?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different things that we're working on. Up next for us, Sierra is one of the stars. We have a paranormal show. Sierra, if you want to talk about it a little bit, we have that coming up pretty soon.
yeah, we have a show called Ghost Girls. The first sort of pilot episode, I guess, is available to watch on Tubi. We filmed that before the pandemic, and um, we had meant to kind of like do more, but with COVID and
Got
everything,
derailed.
Hunting for the Hag, just kind of got put to the side. But Seth, our executive producer for Hunting for the Hag, he's like, why don't we get Ghost Girls back up? So last year we filmed 2 new episodes and filmed them even better than the first one. I think they're really, really solid, really fun. But basically it's a paranormal investigation show. So ghost adventures, ghost hunters, like that style, but it's girls. Because the paranormal world is very male dominated. But if you look at like the main audience that watches paranormal shows, it's predominantly female.
All my
So
wife
it's like
watches.
it's like, why don't we have more, representation or like more girls or chicks out here like hunting for ghosts? So that was kind of the reasoning for it. Also, it's very fun. So yeah, we should have more information on that soon. I think Paul is done editing it. We're
Yeah,
just doing
yeah. I mean, they're almost done. We're doing some sound work on them right now. So right now we're thinking probably get past the holidays, and then they'll be out in early 2025 on Tubi and different streaming platforms like that. And excited for everybody to check out the new episodes. And I think that you guys would like them a lot too, because the pacing on these new episodes are something that I'm really proud of. So I think that they move really nicely, and that hopefully people are going to enjoy everything. And it's all real too. I want to stress that. I made sure that everybody was on board with the fact that we are not going to do a fake ghost hunting show where we're making shit up. Everything that happens on the show is real. So keep that in mind if you decide to check it out.
That's what I was gonna ask, is if this is like an actual show, like a real show, or is it, if it's like a scripted sitcom show. So
Yeah, no, it's real, because
I'm
like,
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm all in then. I'm all in.
Yeah, it
cool,
sounds
Yeah.
cool,
dope.
yeah. Yeah, there's some other stuff on TV. We won't name any names, but I feel like it's pretty obvious that there's some other ghost shows that are maybe not exactly on the up and up, and we wanted to make sure that we're not doing anything that is, because at that point, once you start going down that road, it's like, what are you really doing it for?
Yeah, and I think that's what was so cool about this is Paul's like very adamant, like big, like even if we don't get anything, like, and we're kind of
Right.
rude out of an episode. Like, I'd rather us just be fucked, like,
Yeah.
versus going down the route of, having that. But I mean, luckily, amazingly, we have some really cool things that have happened through the episodes. I think there's maybe, I don't know, one location that maybe is more like exciting than the other, but that's the reality of haunted locations and just, paranormal entities reacting differently to different people and all sorts of stuff. So,
Yeah, and that's kind of like what we're doing with the show, really, is presenting whatever evidence we may or may not get, and then kind of leaving it up to the viewer as to whether or not you think a certain location is haunted. We're not really spelling it out for everybody. We want you as a viewer to kind of come to your own conclusions and be part of the experience.
like the girls, like us four, we all have a different perspective on the paranormal. So like Sarah's like very much like skeptic. So like that's her point of view, and most of the time she's kind of like, And then we have like hardcore believers like Carly, who's like, no, that's definitely, you know what I mean? So there's a fun mix of perspectives between us. It's not like we're all agreeing all the time, which
Hmm.
I think is a cool different way to present this stuff to the audience.
Did you film any locations in Illinois?
We wanted to when we started talking about doing these new episodes. We actually looked quite a bit into the idea of doing the Joliet prison,
Mm.
and it just cost wise, it ended up making more sense to do more California episodes. The goal, obviously, is that we want to get picked up by a streaming service or a TV network or something like that, so that we can travel more and do more episodes. Because I know that there's some great stuff here in Illinois that we could do, but not quite there yet. Hopefully in the future.
That'd be cool. I was just at the Joliet prison 2 weeks ago.
Nice. Yeah,
Way.
that's an. I would love to go
Yeah.
investigate there.
Mm. I wasn't there investigating or anything. I was at the cool one next to it, like the actual haunt for Halloween. But we like
Okay,
drove
yeah,
past and saw it and everything. But
yeah.
so
That's awesome.
one of our favorite things to put out there, I guess is not really a question, the first one, but our favorite thing that we give to every director, anything that anybody that we talk to is if you ever need an extra to kill off in a movie, some of like our biggest goals as content creators is to be killed in a horror movie.
I
So
love
you need to
that.
let us know if you ever need an extra. And if you're in Illinois, I'll drive there. If you're somewhere else, I'll fly there, pay for everything myself. I will do that. I will do it.
Oh, we got to
Hey,
get you some lines. You're not just gonna
yeah,
be an
yeah,
extra. Like you'll be featured.
yeah. I
I will be
mean,
there.
I I got some plans for you. I think that somewhere down the line we're
Slightly
gonna make
ominous.
something happen. Yeah. I mean, why not? We're both in Illinois. We gotta make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I was actually wondering, Colby, this is something that I've been meaning to ask you. You're in Rockford, right?
Mhm.
Something that I have been talking with a couple other filmmakers about in the found footage community actually is the idea of shooting something in Rockford because there's some rumors about there being some very strange sort of underground, like almost like an underground city
Mm.
underneath Rockford, and I'm just curious if you've heard anything about that.
I've kind of heard about like the tunnels and stuff underground. I think the location that they had the location on one of the episodes of Supernatural.
Mm,
My wife, I don't know if I've seen it or not. My
Love
wife's super into
Supernatural.
that,
Love
but there was an
Supernatural.
episode of Rockford, Illinois, and they kind of went into that.
Mm.
So there, I mean, I've kind of heard rumors, but I've never gone around exploring or anything.
okay. Well, we got to look into that a little bit more and see if we can kill you down in some weird tunnel somewhere.
That would be dope. I'd be super down.
Yeah.
I'll put
I'm
you in
sure
the
Ian would
tunnel.
fly out too.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sierra, come on out. We're gonna get weird down there.
Cool. Love tunnels.
Super down for that. So we will stay in touch. And
Sweet.
now I want to do research on it now when we get off of here.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I hear these bits and pieces and it's like I can't imagine that it would be very safe to shoot down there, but like it just seems like if there's actually stuff down there, it would be so creepy. So yeah, we got to do a little more homework on that.
We'll do
I
like a
know.
American
uh,
version of As Above, So Below.
There you go. Yeah.
yeah, I know. There's like these tunnels for like the old abandoned insane asylum here. I know you can get like permits and stuff to do stuff there because
Ooh.
like Supernatural did. There's something else that did it, and I think there's been a documentary that's been able to do it. So the permits are you're able to get the permits to do it and whatnot. But yeah, there's definitely there's definitely a lot of like creepy shit out here that you can look into for like cool locations to shoot at.
So your wife is a big Supernatural fan.
Mhm.
Tamo Pennicott from Supernatural is also on Battlestar Galactica. So tell your wife that she needs to watch Battlestar Galactica.
Somehow
I'll
wrapped it
tell
back
her.
around.
You know I was going to.
She knows all about it too because we're huge Office fans, so
Ah,
she knows all about it.
sweet.
All
And then
roads lead to Battlestar Galactica.
it does.
I'm always preaching the gospel of Battlestar.
And then Ian, do you want to kick off our favorite question?
Yeah, absolutely. It's our favorite question. So, Paul and Sierra, if you had an unlimited budget and were offered to remake any horror movie, what horror movie would you choose? And it could be a remake of any horror movie or a sequel in a horror franchise.
Ooh,
Oh
that
shit.
really opens up some possibilities. Sarah, would you like to go first?
I need a second to think.
Okay, because I have like four or five answers
Uh,
already.
Ye-
Because I think about this like every day. Um, can I cheat just a little bit with something that is horror sci-fi?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's a great movie from the 70s called Zardoz, and it stars Sean Connery and Charlotte Rampling is in it. Great, incredible, strange, trippy 70s movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Super, super weird and quite horrific in a lot of ways. And I've always thought that it would be awesome to have the opportunity to remake something like that. Um, so that would probably be my number one pick. And then I would say underneath that, if I can, I think that there needs to be another Ginger Snaps movie.
Ooh.
Me and some friends have kind of brainstormed some ideas for a fourth Ginger Snaps movie. So hopefully, you know, as we get a little more clout, we can take some meetings with someone and make that happen.
That'd be
I like
awesome.
that
Hell
answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of the Sean Connery one.
Oh, dude, I am telling you, like one of my absolute top favorites in terms of like the so good it's bad type of B movie. Check it out. It's one of a kind.
I like that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Sawdolls. Yeah.
I think just because it's like my favorite horror movie of all time, like I feel like I'd have to go with that. I know they did a remake recently or like a branch off. I didn't watch it, but I'd love to do something with The Exorcist. It's just by far like the scariest fucking movie that's ever existed. Um,
I
yeah,
think you're in
so like,
trouble because Mike Flanagan's doing it.
but I've always wanted to work with Mike Flanagan too. So that sucks. Okay. Well, Mike, if you're listening to this, have
Let me see what I can do. I might be able to work your way into the Flaniverse, Sierra.
how?
Paul,
I don't want to name drop. Come on, don't make me do
Wow, so
that.
cool. Yes, I want to be in
uh,
the Flamverse.
all right, Paul. I hate to cut. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but I texted my wife and I said, "Do you know anything about the underground tunnels in Rockford, like the urban legends, whatever?"
Ooh.
And she said, "No, it's real." I was like, "Wait, like real?" And she said, "Yeah, they were connected to my high school. They're all over the old part of
Oh
Rockford, so
shit.
it's
Oh
a real
my
thing.
God.
Ooh,
It's
connected
actually
to
Okay.
the high
real."
school. That's fun.
Yeah.
This is very exciting news. We're going to go ahead and greenlight this movie right now. Get ready to get killed.
Can we make it like about like a high school too? And can I play like a hot like bombshell teacher that like no?
Well, I was about to say you could still probably pass as a high schooler.
Really? Okay, I don't know. I don't know my age range anymore. I'll take
The bomb school teacher, I can definitely. I don't know why bombshell.
wrong movie, wrong movie. You're not
I
bombing
don't.
schools. It's
I
too
don't know why
sensitive.
you're going to be. I've had a long day. I'm tired. I don't know why you're down in those tunnels, but let's just roll with it. You know.
Yeah, that's funny.
What do you guys want to play? Do you have any sort of particular character that you've been really, itching to play in something?
Man, now we're on the spot.
Right. No, we just want to die. That's all.
Yeah,
We just
we
want to die
Okay.
in
just want to
movies.
die. I just want the most gruesome death you can think of.
All
Just
right.
like a super sick death.
We'll
I'm
have
I'm I'm loving the high school tunnel and like the sci-fi route. The only thing I'm thinking of right now is the faculty.
mm,
So
Yes.
on subject of a remake, like we could do a gnarly faculty remake with some
yeah,
underground tunnels and shit.
that'd be sweet. This is crazy. I mean, I can't believe that that she texted you that, this confirmation that I've been wondering about for years at this point.
She just told me too. They actually learned about it in school too, and they were created back in the booming factory industry. And she
Right.
said that there's a TikTok that someone went down there and like people go down there all the time and film it for TikTok, I guess. So
Wow.
it's all new to
Okay.
me. I never even like I've like heard kind of about it, like I'm like supernatural and stuff like that, but I never like talked to anybody about it and researched it, but I'm going to.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's awesome. Tell her thanks for us that she told us about all that.
She just said there's like vending machines and churches under there. It's wild.
What?
Yeah, like I'm telling you, it's like a whole fucking city under there. I'm like, what the, like, what?
I'm gonna go talk to her about it for like an hour when we get off of here now.
Vending machines and churches, the only things you need, really.
Strange.
Snacks and Jesus.
Yep.
But man, for a character, I don't know. Like, I don't I don't know. I just write something and surprise me.
All right. Can do.
That's I'm all for surprises.
Sweet. Yeah, we've been
But
talking to me and Sierra had a great time earlier this year at the Unnamed Footage Festival in San Francisco, which is all found footage, all
mm,
in-world camera type stuff. We had a great time out there. We drove up from LA with Robbie Banfitch, who did the Outwaters, and we just
oh
spent,
my God.
like 3 or 4 days up there hanging out with different found footage filmmakers, and just like everyone was so warm with us. And we were talking to another filmmaker named David Dawson, and he actually shot something in Rockford recently as well called Flesh Games. And
Oh, that was there?
yeah, I think he shot that in Rockford. And so we've been talking about these tunnels and trying to figure out if we can do something with it. So it's all coming together. We're gonna make it happen.
You can use
That
my
was a
wife
fun
as
movie.
like the historian for everything.
There you
Sierra, I
go.
keep cutting
Yeah.
you off. I'm so sorry.
No, no, you're good. I was just saying, like, you guys should watch Flesh Games. It's fun. It's
It's
fun.
fucked up.
I
Now I have to.
enjoyed
Now I
it.
have to.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say I enjoyed it. It left an impression, that's for sure.
I think the characters were like really funny. Like yeah, it's sick and twisted, but like
Yeah.
I was laughing at what they were saying the whole time. That's a great balance, laughing and being completely grossed out. So
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, this
I
is
love
this
sick
is
and
one of
twisted.
our longest episodes. We usually do
Oh
like
God.
between 45 and an hour, but you guys are just easy to talk to and it's like just leading into more conversations.
Well, I
yeah.
appreciate that, but I got to get downstairs and see if I can hang out with some Battlestar Galactica folks. Got to go have a drink with them.
Wow.
Just kidding, just kidding. No, seriously, thank you guys so much for coming on, Sierra, Paul. We've been talking for a few weeks now, so I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
definitely.
This is
Yeah.
super fun, and hopefully we can do some more cool collaborations in the future.
Oh, for sure. So now I'm going to watch Flesh Games. I'm going to talk to my wife about underground tunnels, and I'm going to rewatch Hunting for the Hag to see Paul as Danny because I also did not catch that.
Oh shit.
All right, I have done my job. I'm some sort of chameleon and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. I can see it now, like kind like the face. I can see the face and I can see like
Yeah.
the greasy hair, like as the character in the movie. But now I want to go back and watch it because that's amazing.
I swear to God, I'm nothing like that. I'm nothing like that. It's not based on any part of me.
is.
I'm an okay dude.
He's like the nicest person.
But again, thank you guys. As always, continue to like and rate us. Go give Paul and Sierra a follow. Go check out Hunting for the Hag. Support them. We want a sequel. Even in my review, I said I need a sequel for this. So we are going to keep pushing this one out.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yep. So we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you.
There you go. That's it.